Hi guys, Will Verduzco here with XDA-Developer TV, and sitting right here next to me is Elite Recognized Developer Chainfire.
Hey guys.
So we're actually just getting back from Samsung Unpacked 2012, where we got to see the unveiling of their new flagship phone, the Galaxy S3.
Right, and as we were leaving the event, we were handed a nice package. The package actually says Samsung Galaxy S3 on it. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but it does say so right here.
How generous of them.
Yeah, really. Thank you, Samsung.
Thank
It
you.
also it has a nice card, which also has Samsung Galaxy S3 printed on it. On the other side it says, "Thank you for being our inspiration." Well, you're certainly welcome, Samsung. I hope I can be your inspiration again sometime. So let's see what's in here. So we have a very neatly wrapped box. It feels like a box that could hold a phone. It has the right dimensions. It's like totally possible that this could be a Samsung Galaxy S3. The wrapping, it's pretty crumpled, but it's because I opened it before. But even the wrapping says Samsung Galaxy S3. So let's unwrap it. And we get a very nice yellow beigey box. Doesn't really look like there would be a phone in here, but you know, anything's possible. I've seen weirder things. So let's open it up and see what's truly in here. It's a candle. A candle. A candle. It is a very nice candle. That's just it's not like it's not a very cheap candle. It's an expensive, nice looking candle.
It's high quality.
High quality that came in a box that had wrappings that said Samsung Galaxy S3 on it.
After we had just watched an hour-long presentation on the unveiling of the Galaxy S3.
And it was in a bag marked Galaxy S3. So I'm pretty surprised that it's a candle, actually. Anyway, there are good things. There's also, the candle also comes with its own matches. They're long, good matches. There's a lot of them. I think there's actually like 50 matches in here.
It's quite a few.
Yeah, for one candle. It's
Pretty generous of them.
Yeah, pretty generous of them. So I don't want to sound ungrateful, Samsung, because thank you for the candle. Really, thank you. I like it. It's a nice candle. But it would have been fun if it was actually a Galaxy S3.
So I suppose they trolled us.
Yeah, they very well trolled, Samsung. Very well trolled.
Indeed, indeed. So what did you think of the device in general? You know, the actual SGS3, not the candle, unfortunately, because I don't think you can apply CF root to that.
No. I think we can say with pretty much certainty that the candle will not be rootable.
Darn it.
I will not be attempting to create CF root for this candle.
Will it have better battery life though than the actual SGS3?
I'm not sure. I mean, if you look the SGS3, it will be coming with a 2100 milliamps battery, so it should be able to last for a day or two. So I don't really think that the candle will last for a day or two. So
pretty impressive claim. So yeah, what about the device itself? Anything that stuck out about the SGS3 that you particularly liked?
Well, there were various things that I particularly like. I like the quad core, of course, but it was pretty well known that was going to be in it. Spec-wise, it wasn't that much of a surprise actually, because one news site that we won't name actually published all the information about the Samsung Galaxy S3 2 minutes before the event started. So they were really quick in their typing, let's just say that. But there's really not many surprises hardware-wise. What I did like is that they are focusing on the software, smart software, to make a difference actually. With gestures, you can actually talk to the phone, you know, like a bit like Apple's Siri.
Oh, you're not allowed to curse on here.
Oh, I'm sorry. A bit like that other phone's voice activation thing.
Unnamed fruit phone.
Unnamed fruit phone, also good. I'm not sure that I will actually be using that. It worked pretty well, but it's also a bit clunky to use. That sounds like those two can be in the same product, but I mean it's clunky to activate it. It's clunky to speak into the phone, but once you do, it actually does work pretty well. But I'm not sure how useful that's going to be in reality. But there's also fun stuff like if you're at the bottom of a list on screen and you tap on the top of the phone, it'll go back to the top of the list. Or if you swoosh over the phone, it's going to take a screenshot, that sort of things. If you're typing an SMS to somebody, a text message, and you pick the phone up and put it to your ear, it'll call that person. I mean, those are pretty nice innovations. It's not really groundbreaking, but you know, it's nice to have.
And pretty nice hardware accessories too, like the wireless charging kit and some other things like that, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, the wireless charging is not going to be 6 feet. It has to, you know, like touch.
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. Adam Adler made a nice article recently about his ideal device, and he explained at length how much he wanted a phone to be chargeable at a distance of 6 feet.
But also how unfeasible it is.
Also how unfeasible it is.
Yeah.
Specifically how unfeasible it is. So that's not going to happen. Yeah. But it has some nice accessories, and you can actually it can read up medical data, and there's like this very tiny MP3 player thingy, and lots of fun accessories.
Yeah, exactly.
But what struck me most about the phone is that in design, it's pretty much a Galaxy Nexus actually.
Yeah.
And that bothers me a little bit because I'm personally not that fond of the Galaxy Nexus form factor. Somehow it's just a few millimeters too big for one-handed operation.
And you're a tall person and you have reasonably big hands.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's a little big for your hands, someone who's shorter, i.e. me, that would be a little more difficult to use in one hand, which could be problematic.
Right.
But, you know, aside from the, venturing off from the Galaxy S3, we want to learn more about you. So why don't you let us know about, any particular hobbies that you do? Like in the 15 or so minutes that you're let out of the basement and can see actual sunlight, what do you do in your spare time?
Well, first off, I don't actually work in a basement. I have an apartment on the 5th floor of an apartment building. There are windows. There's light.
But they must be closed, right? The windows are closed because I think the sunlight hurts our skin, right?
Yes. It burns us. It burns us. It's there is some sun sometimes. I will let some sun in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, my hobbies. I have a lot of the same hobbies that normal people have. I like to go to the movies. Like to go out to dinner. I like to hang with friends.
Long walks on the beach with your phone.
Yeah, but we don't actually have decent beaches. So.
Oh yeah, true.
Right. So, but aside from that, I've actually, due to developing DSLR Controller, I've been getting into photography a lot. It's my main hobby.
And you're pretty good at it now too.
Well, thank you. It's what I spend most of my free time that I'm not developing. I probably spend on something having to do with photography.
Very nice. And to go along with it, you've amassed quite a nice rig of photo equipment.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I really need that for testing DSLR Controller.
Very true. So what do you shoot with now?
I'm shooting with the Canon 5D Mark III currently. And
probably have a nice cache of lenses to go along with that, right?
I can't complain about my lenses, no. That's,
a lot of L, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Again, I absolutely need these things to test DSLR Controller.
I'm jelly.
There's no other way.
I'm even grape jelly.
That's pretty jelly.
I hate you.
You can take a number.
So, getting back to the development front, what actually got you started in mobile development?
Actually, the purchase of an HTC Kaiser, the Titan 2. I started I joined XDA. I read up a bit. There were all these registry tweaks that you could do to change various behaviors of the phone. So I decided I wanted to write an app that managed these tweaks. And that became Kaiser Tweak. And that's actually the first mobile development that I've actually done. It's also one of the first things I've ever posted on XDA, I think.
Huh. So your first post was not anything along the lines of, oh hi HAI, iCan has root PLZ K thanks.
Well, no, not really, because on Windows Mobile everybody had root. We didn't have the strange permission system. But I'm not saying that my first post wasn't like a ridiculous newbie post, because it probably was.
Well, newbie by your standards is probably elite by everyone else's
probably
standards.
Newbie by everybody's standards, but I implore you to just not go and find out what my first post was. I really don't want to know. But what I do know is that Kaiser Tweak is one of the first things that I have posted. It was really in the beginning.
Fair enough.
Probably after I figured out that noob comments weren't welcome.
So, aside from Windows Mobile, you've also done a heck of a lot of Android work.
Yeah.
So, you've done a ton of projects for a ton of different devices and, all the relevant OSs. And what are difficulties that you've faced in certain projects? Like, has there ever been anything that's made you just want to, take your keyboard and, throw that at your computer monitor and yell out words that you aren't supposed to say?
Many things make me want to do those things. I regularly want to break my keyboard in half or throw it at somebody, but usually the person causing the problem is me, because I've messed something up that has to be redone, or the person that I need to throw the keyboard at is not actually here, because like Bill Gates doesn't usually appear in my working area, for example. Neither does the Android development team. So.
What about Steve Jobs?
No, let's not go there. Just let's not.
Fair enough.
No, it's most of the problems are always annoying if you run into problems. But there's two different types of development problems. The first is that you just need to fix code, modify code, or write code. All these features you've thought of, all the things that the app needs to do. You actually need to do it. And sometimes you run into problems that things have to be done differently than you thought, so you have to rewrite a lot. But all of those are just code issues, and the only thing that you need to solve code issues is more time. But time is not free. Its time is not unlimited, so that's how it can be problematic sometimes, because you run into time problems. You don't have enough of it. And the other problem, the other type of problem you run into. Is related to devices, software and hardware. That hardware can work different from what you expected, or software can work different from what you expected. The OEMs, they kind of change behavior of the software, or the developers of the software themselves, like the Android team or the Microsoft team, can change something in the framework that's totally unexpected and causes problems for you. So again, these problems are solvable with time and testing, but they are really frustrating when you run into them.
And I remember recently on your blog you actually wrote up something about how the Android team changed how the SD card was handled between, what was it, a version of Honeycomb and Ice Cream Sandwich?
Right, yeah, there is a discrepancy there. It's the secondary storage is pretty much sealed off. That apps can't write it. They can't exit it. I'm not sure if this is completely by design or if this is by accident. We did actually ask Google, and they have promised to get back to us on that, but so far they haven't. So I'm still waiting. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's one of those things that does illustrate that things do change in different versions of Android, for example. And which can cause unexpected problems.
Well, I mean, I'm sure also, though, in addition to, the occasional headaches and nightmares in coding, there are also really good moments, right? Like, I'm sure that with all the different, CF roots, that must be a project that's pretty near and dear to your heart, right?
Well, there's development is obviously... It's a lot of fun for me. I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't fun. So, but specifically the CF Root project, it's been born more of necessity than it was born out of fun. I needed root for certain firmwares for the Galaxy S, the i9000, that weren't normally rootable, so they had to be rooted in a different way. and I decided to make that route. It wasn't something, I know you laugh because you just make it. It's not something that was like really revolutionary or something. Most developers on the forums, or most skilled developers, could have made the same thing. You see other developers using the same methods. They're a bit more difficult than most devices to do this type of routing with, but it's certainly possible, and it wasn't there when I made it. And I've turned out to make CF routes for a lot of devices and a lot of firmwares, but not really because it's so dear to my heart, but because has been so much CF route development in the past that it really only takes me very short time usually to make a CF route. So it doesn't take me a lot of effort to maintain it, unless there's a major change in the firmware, but usually I can make a CF route in like 5 minutes.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, it's automation.
So then with CF Route, since you initially created that to suit your own need for a routing method for the i9000, and now with DSLR Controller, which has fed into your, nascent hobby of photography, and it's this like positive feedback loop for that, you could say a lot of your development work focuses around your own interests, your own use case scenarios and whatnot. So I'm curious, what do you think of your own daily device phone? I mean, I know you mentioned the size issue, but what do you think of the Galaxy Galaxy Nexus other than the size issue?
Well, it's a pretty good device, but it has a lot of problems that really annoy me, actually. It's, as I said, the size, it's just a few millimeters too big, but it's also the stock dialer. That thing, I don't know who made that. It should go. It should just go. It's when you have the dial pad and it has the numbers, and it also has the letters next to the 9 numbers, that you can't just type in a name. It just won't do that.
Well, some aftermarket firmwares actually have that built in.
Yeah, actually I learned today that ROMs like AOKP actually do have that. It's and TouchWiz, it's a standard feature. So if you're using an AOSP device, you're really like what the hell is this? Why doesn't this work? And you have to press the search button to search for a user. And if you don't press the search button, there is actually a context list in a separate tab in the dialer, but that contact list is also completely unnavigatable. It just might as well not be there. It's that useful. So that's just one of my gripes. And the messaging app, it always opens for me into a previous message conversation, and you want to press the back button to get back to the message listing, so you can create a new message or reply to somebody else. But when you do that, the app closes. I mean,
it's a little bit of a headache and nightmare.
Yeah, it's let's just say that the Galaxy Nexus is not really my favorite device.
So what is
by
your
any
favorite
measure?
device?
It's at this time it's probably still the Samsung Galaxy S2.
It's a good phone. Still a very good phone today.
Yeah, I love it. It's just that usually I'm using it for development and testing purposes. So if I actually go out the door, the battery is going to be flat. So it's not really useful to me as a daily driver phone because,
Fair enough.
The battery will be flat.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy development schedule, to have this interview with us. Are there any closing words that you would like to share with our community?
Well, keep developing for the developers amongst you. For the others, keep using what others have developed, especially me. I like
some good apps that he's created.
Yeah, you could, for example, use one of my great apps. Yeah. And,
DSLR Controller for one, CF Route,
Yeah, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you don't troll my threads.
I.e., go in there now and start trolling.
No, please don't.
Well, thank you again for doing this, Chainfire.
Well, thanks for having me.